Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, January 27th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I take responsibility for my vibrational frequency. Where you are at any given moment, vibrational wise, is up to you to bring that authority back. And as I look at the Astro today, that's the big call that I'm seeing. So before I dig into that, I want to mention for all of my sensitive peeps, nervous system sensitive, electrically sensitive, we have a very air, electrical, mental week ahead. We are in the dark of the moon, preparing for a new moon coming in on Wednesday. Tomorrow, actually, the moon is going to move into Aquarius. But we also have Uranus going direct this week. And when we have Uranus shifting between direct and retrograde, a lot of times that can kind of like heighten our nervous system response and heighten our personal antennas that absorb the electrical frenetic energies. So we're going to be feeling that. And just on top of that, later on Monday, we have Mercury moving into Aquarius. So that is also going to like build these energies up. So this week is a very electrically stimulating, electrically sensitive week. So taking extra time to like breathe, ground yourself, connect to the earth, clear your mind, be very aware of your zip-zappy thoughts. That will all help this week quite a bit. And give yourself extra time to put yourself to bed. I like literally have to put myself to bed like a toddler. So you may find yourself doing that with yourself, like, okay, it's bedtime, turn off all the stimulation, time to calm down. Definitely one of those weeks. And if you are somebody who takes anything to sleep, you might need a little bit more just because it's very electrically charged this week. So let's talk about today. Now, I did mention that Mercury is moving into into Aquarius today. It is not shifting until 6:53 p.m. Pacific time. So technically, we're going to talk about it a little bit more in tomorrow's scope because today's, up until I record tomorrow, is really focused on Mercury at that final degree of Capricorn. And that goes with our energy mantra because Capricorn is the energy where authority, I don't know, where we start to like really like recognize and honor authority outside of ourselves, but also as part of ourselves. I think that's been a big part of Pluto's like last, 14 years of going through Capricorn was to remember and take back personal accountability, responsibility, and authority. So as Mercury is finishing up today at that 29 degrees, watch where shoulds are coming up. And are these shoulds you shoulding on yourself? Is it somebody else shoulding on you? Where did these come from? And are they aligned? I think so much of the Astro, like if we just ask like, am I aligned? Am I aligned? Am I aligned? At various times, good. That's what you need to do. So here's one of those alignment days of checking in with personal responsibility and personal authority and where you are wielding this energy. And it's a good time to remember no one on this planet, I don't care if you look at class or don't, but like no one is better than anybody else. We are all the same under the clothes we put on, the makeup we put on, we're all the same. So we all have like this spiritual personal authority over our lives, and that's it, really. So tune into that today. And again, see where you accept that personal responsibility, but where you also try to give it away, because it can be a thing to try to give it away. Besides that, Moon in Capricorn is also helping with this work. The Moon in Capricorn's making connections with Saturn. So again, kind of like a shuddy day. We're feeling probably on a like spiritual level And also on a human level, we're feeling like both realms of like, well, I should do this, should I do that? And taking that responsibility. Now, while I was shuffling the cards, these two jumped out together. I feel like I had these last week. The comparison card with the maturity card. And I think like the maturity card is where we can take on that responsibility. And it's not about comparing your path, what your life looks like, to anybody else. Because we're all just trying to like kind of maneuver our individual paths, and it's not going to look the same. So just keep that in mind if you are, you know, dogging on yourself a little bit. Maybe you're exactly where you're meant to be. Maybe everything that happened for a reason. I always believe it does, even when I don't like it. And a lot of times I'll look back and be like, oh, I see. It's a lot easier from a distance to see the whys. But Spirit's asking us, can you trust? Can you trust the unfolding? I don't know. I think we're all trying. Mercury, like I said, is going to move into Aquarius 6:53 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm going to speak about that in tomorrow's scope. But I always like to mention that like these planets, it's not like they like cross a border and it's like you are now crossing into Aquarius. It's not like that. And energy, sometimes we feel it a little earlier, sometimes we feel it a little later. I love hearing from people like, this is where I feel this thing. This is where I felt this thing. We all feel it at different times. And again, it makes sense because if we all feel like some of those harder vibes, we all go down at once, it doesn't work. So Spirit has it figured out that like we feel it in different waves. So you may start feeling more of that electrical energy that Aquarius can bring in. I will say this about Mercury and Aquarius. Watch for like ideas popping up, coming through, because that's a sure sign that you are starting to tune into Mercury and Aquarius. The other lunar connections are not happening till later in the evening as well. We have the moon opposite Mars. Later in the evening, we may feel the temper tantrum energy coming on. We may have some tears just moving through, some feels. Anytime the moon and Mars connect, the feels need to be moved through, need to be expressed. Even with the moon in Capricorn. So give yourself a little time and space to feel what you need to feel. Moon's also connecting to Uranus later in the evening. So sleep may just be a challenge for Monday into Tuesday. And again, put yourself to bed. You know what I like to remember? And this is helpful. Even when sleep is not happening, if you focus upon rest and just keep bringing your attention back to rest and maybe meditating, if you are not able to sleep, that helps me. For me, I have to be really careful if I wake up that my mind doesn't grab a thought, because then it's like, oh no, we're going to go thinking. Yay, let's go on a thinking expedition. So I usually can put myself to sleep, but gotta watch for those grabby thoughts popping out. Let's look at the cards. All right, so beyond the maturity and the comparison, I love these cards that we have going on. We have the trust card. And I think sometimes it's just important to remember, like, we can trust the process. We can trust everything that's unfolding. I think especially when it looks a little crazy like it does right now, it helps to trust in the divine plan and trust, my favorite thing to say, that God, Spirit, Universe can take the nefarious, use it for good. We also have a king and queen. Queen of fire, king of pentacles, king of earth energy. This is creative inspiration, and this is like bring the creativity from like the spiritual realm into the physical realm. So if you are having creative inclinations, see where you can utilize them in your life or share them with others who may be looking for some ahas. I also pulled a lovely card from Rumi, The Right Choice. And I was reading this and it just feels really nice. So I'm going to read part of it. Stay close to those who know about the heart. Choose the shade of the tree that is in constant bloom. Don't meander aimlessly among the herb sellers and potion vendors. Go directly to the shop that sells nothing but sweets. Don't sit waiting by every boiling pot to have your plate filled. Not every boiling pot is cooking what you want. Not every sugar cane is filled with sugar. Not every down has an up. Not every eye has a vision, and not every sea contains pearls. And I know I've read this one sort of recently, so I'm just going to read this part. This oracle comes with a message for you. In your heart, you know what holds meaning for you, and you may or may not have a grand vision to go along with that meaning as yet. But deep within, you know what is without value and what holds value for you. You were born with those values intact in your heart, and whatever confusion has arisen for you along the way is just where the values of others have transfused into your own blood. It's time for a transfusion of holy light into that blood, to be cleansed and purified, restored to its integrity, and filled with passion for what is rightfully yours, your unique passion and purpose. If you have been concerned about your path and what steps to take next, this oracle comes as an omen of good things headed your way. Clarity, reassurance, truth, revelation. Don't hold on to the belief system or vision if it appears to be tossed on its head. Let things go the way they will, and good fortune will prevail for you. That vision might actually have been upside down all this time, or suddenly able to right itself and be born for you, if allowed to topple. Or perhaps there is more fulfilling version of your vision lurking in its remnants, to be scooped up by your soul with its hawk vision and eagle deftness. Trust that if you are being drawn away from a tantalizing sweet shop, there is a more delicious array of confection around the corner for you. So yes, have your tantrum if you must, but you will be sheepish soon when you realize the hand of the great beloved that removes is the same hand that bestows even the greatest gifts. And the sacred honoring ritual. Hands down towards the earth, say aloud, with gratitude and trust, I release that which is not rightfully mine. And open your hands upward towards the sky and say, I give thanks for the grace that is bestowed upon me now, as I accept my rightful divine inheritance. And then stand with your hands in prayer at the heart and say, I honor my heart wisdom. May my heart always be my leading light, showing the way of grace. And so be it. So I think that's lovely reminder of the authority, the personal authority, and working with spirit in that regard. Stay grounded. Take your time for that. That's going to be helpful. And besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. What was it that I was going to say? Because now I'm like, what was it? Why am I? May your guiding light be strong, and know that you can trust your process. I like that. Namaste.